the hit by Sky Urgel. Just in one single rally hit, we lost more than 3 million troops. Read this. With all the insane battle familiars that synergize together with each other to create this immense impact, how are we going to defend? And how are you going to sleep at ease in a crazy kingdom with all the superpowers out there? Today, I will show you how to make an alpha rally trap with the use of battle familiars in 2019. Just like this guy.
Easy go.
Nah. As you can see, that was 1 year ago, when there's no mythic gear, no battle familiar, a 299 million castle is able to tank 3 concurrent Emperor titles rallies and eat them all up. But today, with all the battle familiars out there, it will be tough and perhaps impossible. So, we need to build an alpha rally trap.
It's a trap!
About 1.5 years ago, I did a video called How to Be a Rally Trap. You can actually find the video over here, this video over here. Up to today, I have many follow-up queries asking me how to build a better rally trap, especially with the introduction of battle familiars. To build a rally trap back then is very different from how you're going to build it today. There are a total of 4 alpha rally trap pointers that you have to take note, and I will go through step by step. Alpha rally trap point number 1. So it's about troops breakdown. So the idea of a troop breakdown is to have sufficient amount of frontline and anti-frontline strength. So back then when I did that video about how to be rally trap 1.5 years ago, I thought about M44 rally trap, whereby they have 6 million T4s and 6 million T2s. So the frontline and anti-frontline strength is approximately 24 million. So if you are wondering how I derive the numbers, you can go back to the video by clicking on the marker up there. But long story short, strength over here, which have an equivalent number of points that allocate them, it will be a better representation of how strong is your trap against incoming rallies. M44 having somewhat around 24 million frontline and anti-frontline strength, they are able to tank rally hits very effectively 1 to 2 years ago. But today, with the introduction of battle familiars, with mythic gears, over 105 castle skin stars, this will not be enough. Today, we will need approximately 33 million frontline and anti-frontline strength. To briefly explain what is frontline and anti-frontline, if your frontline is infantry, for you to be able to tank effectively, you must avoid instances where the cavalry is very strong, because the only way to decimate your infantry frontline is if the opponent sends strong cavalry marches against you to decimate your infantry. So your way to counter this is to have a strong anti-frontline, which is range, to actually counter back the cavalry. So that's the reason why frontline is infantry, then anti-frontline will be range. So same applies for if your frontline is range, you need a very strong cavalry. Before we move on to Alpha Rally Trap point number 2, Please remember to subscribe, like, and share this video. Using that spreadsheet link in the description below, you can actually derive your own frontline and anti-frontline strength. Please comment your frontline and anti-frontline strength, and whoever that's able to guess my frontline and anti-frontline strength to the closest answer, I will. And further, if you would like to follow my Guinness World Record journey in November, you can find my Instagram in my description. So it's private now, but if you leave a comment, I will add you. Alpha Rally Trap point number 2. Your equipment. So there's no one answer fit all. However, I can give you a reference, a gauge. Using mine as a reference point, the ideal amount of attack, defense, and HP would be something like my infantry attack is around 430, range 530, cal 413, and my army attack is around near 200%, army HP near 370%. Just bear in mind that I didn't use any buff, I don't have any prisoners, and I don't have any auto boost at this moment. So my gauge to be an ideal Alpha Rally Trap on top of your 33 million frontline and anti-frontline strength, you need somewhere around an average of 430 infantry attack, range attack, and cavalry attack. Army attack somewhere around 180, army HP 350. Of course, I understand that certain of you have different kind of army attack, but play around with the numbers. So let's say if your army attack is a bit higher, right? Then you can afford to have slightly lower infantry attack as those kind of stuff, right? So play around with the numbers, and if you don't know how to actually have a apple-to-apple comparison in terms of what I'm talking about, you can actually refer back to the video of attack versus HP versus defense. In there, I mentioned about the equivalent amount of points that is being allocated to attack, HP, and defense. So in short, 1 point of attack is equivalent to 5.21 points of defense. And 1 point of attack is actually 1.73 times that of HP. I'm not going to go through the nitty-gritty details of how I derived the numbers. If you want to look into the details, go back to the video by clicking on top there. When I say Alpha Rally Trap, is someone that is able to tank someone like Sky 29, at least 3 concurrent rallies by someone as strong as Sky 29. But the point is, if your stats fall short of this, that is when you need to tweak and adjust your frontline and anti-frontline strength. Take for example, let's say you only have 150 army attack, you only have 300 army HP, right? Then you have to adjust your frontline and anti-frontline strength to approximately like 37 million. Alpha Rally Trap point number 3. Your research. The point of a trap is to entice someone to hit you. In order to do so, you need to have as low might as possible, yet having a very strong strength. In that way, you are able to get more people to hit you because they have an illusion that your might is low, but in actual fact, you have a very strong strength. So research should play a very big part. If you want to be a very effective trap, you have to keep your might as low as possible. So to do so, the main criteria is to only achieve T4 for heroic fighters, cannons, ancient drought riders. Destroyer, you can leave it. And at least unlock up to better familiar slot 2. Up to your individual preference, I would rather you actually unlock up to level 10. Alpha Rally Trap point number 4. The last and the most important point. Better familiars. What are the better familiars to use as a rally trap? I'm sure most of you are aware that there are 3 familiars that are very important for rally leaders because the way it improves is an exponential improvement in terms of the attack. Trickster, Jamming Gremlin, and Goblin. For Trickster, at level 10, your range attack will increase 100% every time when 10% of troops has fallen. But you have to bear in mind of something. As a rally trap, you would not want to have such a scenario where more than 10% of your troops has fallen. Same for your Jamming Gremlin or Goblin. So a few weeks ago I did a video about Jamming Gremlin versus Pirates, which is better. So if you want to go through the nitty-gritty details of which is better, click at the video up there. Long story short, the effectiveness of Pirates is only at the first 10-second window. So the whole battle will last 40 seconds, but the thing is 10 seconds is only a quarter of the battle. And one pointer is, if you look at the fight by Skychu against my guildmates, right? You will realize that for 2 of the strong hits, one is a strong range hit, another is a strong infantry hit, he didn't use Pirates at all, not even a single time. It will actually have certain limitation because attack animation is such that if there's a war and the troops are certain far away, you notice that before the hero make the first strike, that 10 second could have already expired. For a rally trap like this, how are we going to use the better familiar? There are 3 different ways to use your better familiar depending on your front line. Let's go through each and every way. If let's say you are infantry front line, the ideal is to have Jizya. I'm not sure whether I pronounce it correctly, because Jizya will actually decrease the cavalry HP by 40%. It doesn't require a prerequisite of have more than 10% of troop has fallen, because you realize most of the familiars out there, right, there's always a criteria. Like for instance, for this familiar, you require at least 10% of your cav troops has fallen before you increase the cavalry max HP. So for that case, it's not that effective at all. That's the reason why for rally trap, using this JZ minus of 40% cavalry max HP for a case of you being an infantry frontline is very effective. Why? So remember I talked about frontline and anti-frontline strength. If you have infantry as your frontline, what you are scared the most is if the opponent, the enemy, send a very strong cavalry. So for you to actually curb this scenario, you need to have enough force, enough strength to actually counter back. So that's the reason why minus cavalry HP is very important. Same apply for range. Terror Spike, 40% infantry max HP. So cavalry of 40% HP in the range. So what about the second familiar spot? The second familiar spot will be Aquarius, because it reduces army HP by 15%. You must bear in mind that if Lord's Mobile stays silent in the way how they describe certain things like last 10 seconds or 12 seconds, you just say at the start of the battle, reduce enemy Calf max HP by 40%. It will be, we read it at face value. So it's just like a logistic buff, whereby throughout the whole battle of 40 seconds, this will be applicable. Aquarius is reduction in army max HP by 15%. So in totality, right, it's just like having a very strong demoralize, a very strong reduction of up to 55% of a single troop type. 55%. That is a lot. So thank you so much for tuning in for this video. I hope I have added some value in your gaming experience. So remember to subscribe, like, and comment if you benefited from this short video. So remember, whoever who got the closest answer for my frontline and anti-frontline strength, you'll get something from me. Alpha Smurf signing off. Bye.
I appreciate your help.